4-2 is exactly then how it finishes. Let's take a look at how things stand at the top of La Liga. After that result, remember Barca and Real Madrid both won at the weekend. Atletico Madrid then third, sitting on 63, 7 points still off Barca at the top of the table. Meanwhile, take a look at the bottom half of the table. It's inevitable, isn't it? Valladolid will be relegated, sitting on 16 points with 7 matches remaining. Let's welcome in, shall we? Sid Lowe joins us. Sid, Atleti still got a chance?
No.
Okay.
Well, not a chance of winning the league anyway.
Thank you very much, Sid. We'll be looking ahead to the championship.
We'll be looking at this. Pleasure.
Sum up today for us.
Well, I mean, I suppose you sum it up. Actually, I think Ali got it dead right at half-time when he was talking about how if Atletico Madrid accelerated a little bit, they would score more goals. So the only way Valladolid were going to score more was going to be if they were gifted those opportunities. They get a free kick that hits the wall. It's another foul from Lenglet. It's another relatively foolish challenge from him in that he didn't really need to dive in. I was looking this up at halftime actually to try and confirm that feeling we had about him being occasionally problematic for them and an accident waiting to happen. 4 penalties he's given away this season for Atletico Madrid, and it does feel like at the end of the season when Atletico look back, obviously they're not going to blame it all on Lenglet by any means, but they will look at this and say, actually, but for moments of carelessness, we could have competed for this league title. Bear in mind they've lost fewer games this year than both Real Madrid and Barcelona.
Taking a look at the fixtures to come then for Atleti, the first of which, of course, is this weekend live on ESPN+. They're away against Las Palmas. Preceding that on the Saturday is Barca against Celta Vigo. And on Sunday, Real Madrid taking on Athletic Club. Real Madrid, of course, it looks very likely, will be without a certain Frenchman.
One thing and the one line that as a professional you should never cross when you go in to injure another player. And I don't care if this is his background, his personality, of what he has been in the past. It doesn't really matter to me. I don't care that he has apologized for it. That doesn't take away the action. And the action is that he could have really gravely hurt the player Antonio Blanco from Alaves. The fact that he hasn't been injured, by the way, should not be a reason as to why he doesn't get the full amount of games that he should get. Thinking about Antonio Blanco and whether he was injured or not misses the point entirely. And it is stupidity to the highest level. It misses the point entirely because the point is Mbappe went in with all the intent to injure a player and to endanger the safety of a player. And that, again, is unforgivable.
Mario, your thoughts when you saw that?
Yeah, no, I think what Ali says, I totally agree. You know, like as a player, why I would say that I was surprised because he's not a player like that. You understand? And I don't think people should say that because have we seen him doing stuff like this before? I haven't seen him do it before. So for me, you understand, I don't know what was prior to the moment, but I think he lost his cool and his control and his temper and everything. But clearly, yeah, that's a bad foul because one, he could end Blanco's, playing career or whatever you want to call it. And then on the other side, what Ali said, you understand, there are really 2 things you don't want to do, and that's those 2 things. Don't kick a player and make him go out of the pitch. But on the other side, it's also like, this is Madrid, and people are going to talk about it, and he knows it. And I hope he learned from this, because if not, there's no coming back, because people are going to look for you. And he's not the player, and I would not want to see it the other way around, so I would not want him to do it.
Sid, where are we on his suspension?
Well, the suspension really and truly is down to the nature of the way that this is structured in Spain means that there is this concept of the fact that the referee's report is presumed to be correct. There's a presumption of veracity with the referee's report. And because the referee's report describes what Kylian Mbappe did as being in the process of disputing the ball is in play, that means it will be in the bracket, the ban will be in the bracket of 1 to 3 games. If a ban is under 3 games, it gets fulfilled only in that competition, in other words, only in La Liga. So he would not miss the Copa del Rey final, even if it was a 3-game ban, which would, of course, in terms of the number of games, take him to that Copa del Rey final. It would be the 2 league games before it and 1 after it. It could be anywhere between 1 and 3. Had the referee not said that ball was in play, and this therefore would have gone to the committee and been judged as essentially as a or what do you call it, as an attack on someone or as an assault on someone rather than a tackle, then we'd be talking about a different set of punishments and a different process. But because the referee says the ball was in play, it will be treated as a tackle. Yes, as a bad one, but it will be treated as a tackle. Now, in my personal opinion, that is wrong, but that is the nature of the way that the protocol is put in place.
Jules, you're sunning yourself on holiday at the moment in Spain, but I'm sure you've been keeping abreast of what the French media have been saying about this. I'm wondering what that reaction has been.
Yeah, pretty bad one, to be fair, because we don't have to say that he's not that kind of player, but in a way, it's true. I think his fourth red card. He had 3 for PSG, 1 on a challenge, a bit like this one in the sense that he clearly felt really frustrated in a game where things were not really going his way. He was on the receiving end on a few challenges himself, and then he kind of retaliated in a way which is similar to the one we saw yesterday at Alaves, because he's been kicked quite a lot up to that point and then lashed out clearly to just continue what all the boys have been saying. So there's been a similar incident before, which the French media has been reminding everybody today. But yeah, it's quite rare, to be fair, from him to see this kind of challenge.
So, Stevie, what was interesting and what Real Madrid and Mbappe are pushing is the fact that he's very sorry. There's a picture doing the rounds where he's apologising to Blanco after the game. I'm wondering if you're in Blanco's shoes, how you react to this.
Well, I think if I'm in Blanco's shoes, I probably accept it.
Right.
Because I've walked off the field and I've been able to get up and play. Because you don't think of the other side of the coin, particularly in the middle of a game. You know, you get kicked, but, you know, once everything calms down and it settles down, then, you know, you're off and running and you're playing the game again. So you don't think about all the other things that go on. So at the end of the game, when he comes up and apologises, 99 out of 100 would accept the apology, just because he's come and apologised.
I see. Mario, would you be 99 one of the 100?
Yeah, I think what Stevie said is true, because, you know, when you walk away, your mind goes a bit off it, and then you calm down. But if it happens on the moment, you understand, I think similar to what Kylian had in his head, I think that's a similarity how he would react, because in the moment when I'm on the field, I would not be cool, you know, and I've protected myself as well in a number of moments, you understand, especially playing in England, you have to protect yourself. But we're not in that time frame anymore, playing football. This was something that I think Blanco couldn't protect himself, and that's why this incident happened. But yeah, if I come off the game and you come to me, I had my shower, I calmed down, and I have not seen the clip, because the clip will not help if someone shows me the clip, because then I probably go back into it. But don't show me the clip, and then the guy comes to me, I say, okay, come on, let's move on, let's carry on.
And that's exactly the key point there, that Blanco must not have seen the video. Because if I had seen the video and I'm Blanco, I now know what we just discussed, that player, Kylian Mbappe, intended to hurt me, to injure me. That was the intention of the challenge. And if that's the case, now you are getting into a category in which you're now endangering my livelihood. And if I have a family, you're endangering how I feed my family. And at that point, your apologies are worth nothing to me. Especially, and this is how, whether it's fair or unfair, this is how you break it down. Kylian Mbappe, to his credit, because of his talent, has made and will continue to make zillions upon zillions of dollars, right? Blanco is not that guy. Right. So he needs to be out on the field. He needs to be available. He needs to be available for selection so that he can have an next contract, so that he can have the livelihood that he wants for himself and for his family. And Kylian Mbappe endanger that. So if he had seen the video, there is zero chance that I'm accepting this apology. Move on with your life. Don't come over here trying to look for sympathy, because I'm not the one who's going to give it to you.
Well, we're still awaiting confirmation of how many matches it will be that Kylian Mbappe will be suspended for. But one thing is for sure, he is available for the Champions League tie on Wednesday. Remember, Real Madrid 3-0 down after that first leg humiliation against Arsenal, and inevitably Arsenal big favourites to advance to the semi-finals. You take a look at how Real Madrid have fared after losing by 3 or more goals in the past. It doesn't bode well at all for them. We talk about being the comeback kings. In fact, they've only done it once with a 3-goal deficit, and that was against Derby back in 1976.
I saw that game.
Did you?
I did.
All right.
And I can assure you.
Wow.
And I can assure you, the refereeing was questionable. I still remember it.
Dear me, Steve, that's quite impressive.
Controversy. Controversy.
49 years ago.
Good memory.
Yeah, it was on Sports Night on a
Sid,
Wednesday.
what's the talk of the town going into this?
Well, as you can imagine, the talk of the town is that this is something that grows. So immediately post-game, you get Ancelotti saying we've got very few chances really, but we'll try. But then you get Bellingham say it's going to take something crazy, but if anything crazy can happen, it's at our place. Then bit by bit, over the next 2 or 3 days, you start getting this, hey, I wonder if, an early goal or a goal at some point in the second half and the place goes a bit wild and people start to lose their heads and who knows and you look back over those results and you've just mentioned it there. It hasn't happened as often as the narratives, as the storyline would suggest. But of course, what we have seen in the last few years is pretty crazy comebacks from Real Madrid and them winning games that you really wouldn't expect them to win. And so yeah, of course, logic means you look at this and you think, no, come on. But it's not about logic, is it? Let's face it.
Mario, explain to me the psyche of the Arsenal players if, as example that Sid said, if Real Madrid score early, how do you stop yourself thinking about, oh no, we're the victims this time?
I always say that, at the moment when they score early, you need more than just your captain because you need the cool heads of all of them. At least a team needs at least, 4 captains on the field, regardless, one is wearing the armband. And when that happens, you need a couple around you to say, calm down, especially to the younger ones, to say, calm down, nothing happened yet. Because, all of us, you understand, the guys that play the game, being in that situation, that when you're young, you want to lose your temper, you're panicking a little bit, but you have a level-headed next to you, and it says, don't worry, we still got it under control, stay calm, just do your job. And I think that's what's going to be key for Arsenal. And, of course, how he preps them for the game. I thought that he should tell them that in advance and tell them exactly, guys, whatever happens, don't lose your cool because it's going to be a tough one, regardless of what the score is going to be. Imagine you come on the field in Madrid and you know that it is really important for them. They are used to it, but you come in now because Arsenal, it's not like they say oh, we play every week, we're going to go to that stadium. No, it's going to be your first one, and it's going to be a tough one.
How are you dealing with it psychologically from Arteta's point of view, with his players, many of which haven't quite had this experience in the Champions League before?
You make this, you try and turn this into another game, which is what you do. You turn it into, this is about us being professional. They have to come at us. They're the ones that have to do something special. We just have to do our job. The back four, you have to do your job. You guys in the middle of the park, do your job. Last 2-3 seasons, defensively, we've been solid, we've been sound. We don't lose 3 goals. I think Arsenal's only lost 3 goals once in the last 2 or 3 seasons. So we just do our job. I looked it up a couple of days ago, but I'm not still 100%. But they don't. They just don't lose 3 goals. And so it's all about taking the air out, take the steam out of the situation, play it like a normal game, but be professional. And then after that, your own ability will take care of the rest.
Ali, we'll be hearing from you tomorrow as we look into this game in more detail. Just one more thing, Jules. Camavinga obviously suspended. Tchouaméni comes back. What sort of difference does that make?
Well, I think it's a big difference because we saw Real Madrid losing that battle in midfield in the first leg and easily as well. I think Valverde has to come back into midfield as well. We saw Alaves on Sunday. Okay, Alaves is not Arsenal, but already Valverde in midfield made a massive difference. So for me, Tchouaméni and Valverde have to be the two in that midfield too. No Modric, no whoever else you want. I mean, Ceballos is not ready. He just came back from injury, was on the bench and came on late against Alaves on Sunday. He's not ready to start a game of this magnitude. Put Lucas Vazquez at right back. I know Lucas Vazquez against Martinelli is not really the matchup that you want. You would rather Valverde there, but I think Valverde is far too important in midfield for Real Madrid in a game like this, especially when you have to come back. So Tchouaméni is a big boost, I think, for that midfield with Valverde next to him. I can't even think that the Ancelotti's father and son will put Valverde right back for a game like this. He has to be in midfield.
He's not listening to his son, Jules. We'll say thank you very much to Sid. Much appreciated. Just a reminder, of course, all 4 Champions League ties will be concluded by the end of Wednesday. And then for Barcelona and Real Madrid, it's the little matter of the Copa del Rey final. April the 26th, live on ESPN Plus at 3 p.m. Eastern. Well, let's go into a little more detail, shall we, about what's at stake over the next 24 hours as we focus on Barca against Borussia Dortmund. Yep, that's done. Let's talk now about PSG against Aston Villa, Jules. Any concern from a PSG point of view that this might not be as easy as it looks?
It'd be easy, but certainly the camp seems quite serene, certainly, and quite calm going into Villa Park tomorrow night. They didn't play this weekend. They've asked for their game against Nantes to be postponed, which the league agreed to it. So they've had a whole week off, basically, since the game on Wednesday, and to be ready for tomorrow. We don't expect many changes in the starting lineup either. Marquinhos is back from suspension, and we'll start with Pacho instead of Beraldo. And then really it's Doué or Barcola on that right-hand side. Really, the rest will be pretty much exactly the same. And from a PSG point of view, the game has to be the same. They will play like they always play, with a lot of intensity, trying to have a lot of the ball, trying to play quite high to put Villa under pressure. And they know Villa will come out, and Villa can't defend as much as they did in the first leg, which clearly now I think we all agree was a mistake from Unai Emery to be so defensive in that first leg. But they will have to come out, which means more space to exploit for PSG, especially in behind with the front three, whether it's Barcola or Doué, with Dembele and Kvaratskhelia. So from a PSG point of view, they know they are favourite to go through. Obviously, they know they've got this tie in their hands. And I think they are absolutely ready to go there and face whatever Villa has to throw at them.
Yeah, how do you balance this, Mario? Jules mentioned there that attacking threat that PSG have. They went defensive in the first leg. That didn't quite work out. Going into this tie, you're going to have to open up a little bit. But how do you do that without giving PSG the sort of chances that you know the quality of their forward line would take advantage of?
Yeah, look, it's also French football. French football hits you on the break. So if Villa has to come out, the only thing is that, you have to make sure that you don't expose yourself. So you have to have, Stevie made a great point, because defensively you have to be strong, but also in the middle you have to have the protection. It comes down to when you push them first, we got to see first, you understand, what is like when PSG comes out, you got to make sure that Villa has enough bodies to make sure that they can stop their counter-attack. If they can't stop it, they're going to hurt themselves, and really early. Because if they hurt themselves early, oh my God, it becomes an open game. I remember playing that game against Monaco at the time. Oh my God, it was a hell of a game. Because what happens is sometimes out of your, you forget the discipline. And when you forget the discipline, and sometimes, the younger boys, because clearly PSG is a younger side, but the younger boys, they have that energy and they have the freedom still, and sometimes you try to hurt them on that scale. But if that doesn't work, oh my God. I feel, I don't, on my side, it will be a tough one for Villa.
Yeah, I think the bookies will agree with you, Mario. Let's take a look at the odds, shall we? As to who is going to advance PSG with that 3-1 lead. 16-1 means you have to put on $16 to win $1. Are you biting at 6-1 at all for Aston Villa, Ali?
I don't even know what that means, but no, I'm not biting on Aston Villa.
It means that you would win $7.
Yeah, I'm not biting on Aston Villa, no. PSG has slowly, because it didn't happen overnight and over the course of the season, slowly they have become more and more impressive as the Champions League season has gone on. And what makes them more impressive than anything else is that beyond the individual talent that they do possess, the core group of this team and what makes them really successful is how they're able to work as a team. As basic as that may sound, they work as a team, and the lines are together, and when they press together, and when they sit back together. You add all of that to that individual talent that I just mentioned, and then you can have Dembele having a good night, Kvaratskhelia having a moment, and when those guys have a moment or a good night, then it's good night to everybody else, in this case Aston Villa. PSG will advance.
PSG.
Yep, that's it. Just 3 letters. That's all you need from Stevie Nicol. Just a reminder, we'll be looking back at both of the ties in the Champions League on the next edition of ESPN FC, plus looking ahead to Inter against Bayern and Real Madrid against Arsenal.
I think we lost a little bit confidence because we conceded, probably because, the environment. And this is the moment that you have to continue doing the right things and don't change plan. Also because we are a team that most of the times our goal kick we start from playing short. The second goal we decide to play long because the environment of the and we concede the second one. We are stronger with our fans. We are a better team, and it's up to them to decide the way. For sure today probably, with the 0-1, 0-2, it's normal to be in the way they were.
So take a look at the chances to finish in the top 5. Chelsea currently sitting 6th in the table. But let's focus on what Enzo Maresca said, shall we? As Mario's with us, as is Jules. Mario, what do you make of that? He's kind of calling out the fans a little bit there, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. I think, he's trying to get them behind him, of course, and I understand that, when you go at the bridge, English football is based on that. When you get your own fans behind you, it gives you that extra momentum. But you always got to be careful, when you call them out, you understand, there are moments that they might, let themselves hear too. So you have to be careful. And in the way that Chelsea started the game, they were going forward and they were trying. But the thing is that you concede 2 goals. And if you look at the way they conceded them, no, you cannot. Cucurella made 2 mistakes. You understand? The first one and the second. He scores the other goal. But just overall, you see, just as a team, I feel like sometimes I ask myself, who's leading that team? That's the biggest question for Chelsea at the moment. Who is really the leader? I'm not talking about the one that's wearing the armband, but who are the other ones? You understand? Because in the teams that when you played there, we didn't have that. We didn't have to look like who's going to have a go at you when you make a mistake. I'm asking myself, who's doing that now?
Dangerous game to play, isn't it? Calling out the fans.
He's forgetting one thing, one very important thing. He's talking about the atmosphere that the fans were creating. Mm-hmm. Well, it's the team that's created that atmosphere. It's not the fans that have created it. What you do on the field creates an atmosphere in the stadium. And it's not just about that one game. What they've been doing at home, particularly recently, since Christmas probably, is creating that atmosphere. So he's got a cheek to turn around and try and say this is on the fans for creating an atmosphere. Him and his team have created the atmosphere that they're struggling in right now. And 100%, he's looking... All he's trying to do is take that long ball so that he can run back to everybody and say, well, that's why we're going to keep playing it out the back. That's all he's doing. Sometimes you have to change your tactics. And just because you lose a goal, it's not that simple to just turn around and say, oh, it's because we kicked a long ball, because the fans were on our back. No, I'm sorry. Sort your team out and get your players getting the fans back on your side. Don't expect them to turn up and just do it for you.
It's always a good idea to go after the fans when you've gone down 2-0 at home, giving up soft goals, and then you blame it on them, on all of them out there in the stands, and not on yourself and the players who are out on the field. How many of those fans that created this quote-unquote environment, how many kicks of the ball did they have on the match? None. Zero. You can never think that it's a good idea to go after your fans, as frustrated as they may be, and whatever environment you think they're created. Robert Sanchez is well within his decision-making as a goalkeeper to say, you know what, I'm tired of playing these short balls here and us losing it in a bad area, so I'm going to put it over there. Mm-hmm. And if we do this properly, it shouldn't be that one header beats our whole midfield and one pass beats all of our back line. Maybe we concentrate on that, not on the environment.
Any whispers about his future, Jules?
Yeah, I believe so. There's a lot of discussions within the club. I mean, this is a club that is not really functioning right now. The toxic atmosphere that we've just described is there. I think there's issues within the club, between the people upstairs, of course, but around Maresca too, within the dressing room, within the players. This is we saw the table. I mean, Chelsea for a long time were third, and yeah, it's a young team, and maybe we didn't expect them to be that high, first of all, but they were there. There was a point where they were even second in the table, just behind Liverpool. And now, the deep performance we see again the table here, it's worrying. And if they don't finish in European places, if they don't finish in Champions places, this is not good news for a club that needs money, that already is talking to UEFA to have to pay a fine already for financial fair play, before UEFA actually give them a fine. So there's a few issues at the club, and and I think the future of the manager is one of them. They also need stability, and I think everybody at the club knows that. And yeah, Maresca did some good things this season, some not so good things. I think he showed his lack of experience because he's still a very young coach. This is only really his second full season as a first team manager, and you could see that in his communication, some of his decision making, the choices over the starting lineup, all of that. So he shows, but I still think they have to keep him. Otherwise, you start again from scratch, and that's not what they're doing right now.
Right then, Mario, it's Monday, so I've got to ask you this. Will Chelsea finish in the top 5?
I knew you were going to ask me that. They're going to play the last game against Nottingham Forest. That is the only thing. But away from that, I always said they would, but I'm worried now.
Yeah.
So I have to say yes.
Oh, of course. There we go then. Chelsea's remaining fixtures not easy either when you take a look at that. Meanwhile, well, from Chelsea, let's talk about one of their former players, shall we? Kevin De Bruyne, talking about his future after that man-of-the-match performance against Crystal Palace at the weekend, said, "I still think I'm able to perform on the highest level. I don't know what teams are interested or what they want to do. Whatever project's available, I'm willing to listen. I love football. I love to play football. And if a nice project comes and my family's also good with that, we will be able to make a decision." Right then, Mario, simple question. If you're Kevin De Bruyne, where is your ideal club?
Yeah, I don't think I think I can understand that he's looking at England, but where else are you going to go in England? So that's one that he has to drop because, you won everything already. So then the question comes, he raised his kids in Manchester, that's what he said. And then he also played his first game after so long pain-free. That's why we saw him, accelerate that well, over the weekend. But then you go, what is it, America? And I don't see him quickly going to a Saudi, competition because I don't know if the family will be able to adapt there. So I think... it might come and be our neighbours, guys. If he doesn't stay in England, that's what I mean.
Oh, you think? You think Ajax?
No. No, I said America.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I don't think he's going to Ajax. He goes either America, and then the last choice would maybe, I didn't mention that, is Germany, because that's where he started, how he got to City.
Okay, so they're going to Mario, LA, neighbours. Where would you go if you were Kevin De Bruyne? You can go anywhere.
Actually, I would make the case that him going back to Germany wouldn't be the worst thing. And he only has to look at, say, a guy like Granit Xhaka, who seemed to have been done after his time at Arsenal, goes to Leverkusen, and it feels like there's been this renaissance to his career, rebirth to his career. Kevin De Bruyne at Leverkusen wouldn't be the worst match possible. In fact, I think it makes a whole lot of sense. And I still think
Player coach?
well, no. But he can play at that level. But it really comes down to a personal choice from Kevin De Bruyne. Am I in a place and in a position where I can make a decision that is very much about comfort, peace of mind, quality of life? And if that's the case, and for a new adventure altogether, then yes, Major League Soccer makes a whole lot of sense. If I were him, I would be looking at the possibility of making a transition like Granit Xhaka did, because I still think that he can play at that level.
MLS, all day long.
All right. Okay.
Well, he loves playing football, right? And he's talking about he's now playing pain-free. So why don't you go somewhere where that pressure, that physicality is not going to be on you? And all you're going to have to do, because whoever he goes to are going to set the team up to play for him,
Right.
then he can just go and play his football. He doesn't have to do the miles and do all the chasing and all the other things. He can, and he'll have more time on the ball, than he would have in Germany.
Who's got his discovery rights?
I have no idea. And his kids will love it. His wife will love it. If I'm him, if he calls me up and asks me, Stevie boy, where do you think I should go? MLS.
And you'll say, can you help me clear out this shed a bit?
Yeah.
Jules, would you want him in Arsenal?
He's not going to go to another English club. That's not possible. I don't think he'd do that to City anyway. So I think MLS makes a lot of sense. I agree with the boys. Personally, I would love for him to go back to Belgium where he all started, and like we saw Vertonghen or Alderweireld, those kind of guy going back home really and to finish the career. I mean, he's 33 years old, so there's a couple of years maximum left there, and I think that it would be so nice for him to just finish it all where he started in Belgium. But I think MLS is a great project for him to have. Whatever team he chooses, I don't think anybody can afford him in Germany. I don't think Saudi is for him at all, full stop, despite the money. So I think he'd be probably MLS. Yeah, I agree with the boys, but I would love him to go back to Belgium.
I'm sure you're shocked to know that the discovery rights
into Miami.
Into Miami.
Wow! How did that happen? I don't know, but the answer is always Inter Miami.
They have a lot of scouts around, don't they?
A lot of discovery.
There's undiscovered talent
rights.
everywhere. Jules, thank you very much, mate. Enjoy the rest of your holiday. We know we'll have you on though if PSG lose, so that could really ruin the holiday. Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. Thank you very much for all of your questions. Mario with us. Mario, do you remember which was the worst tackle that an opponent did to you? And if so, did you try and get back at him?
Whoa, repeat that one more time.
The worst challenge that you've ever experienced playing football?
Oh my God. The worst that they did on me, I'm talking about, right? That's the one you're highlighting, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I had one with... I can clearly say it with a smile, but that time we played Liverpool-Chelsea. And Emil Heskey made a tackle on me, and if I didn't jump, I would have broken my leg. So I never forget that game. And in that game, I had Marcel Desi playing next to me, and Ranieri was calling him and saying to him, don't let Mario mark Emil again. And Desi kept on chasing with me, and he said because he could see in my eyes that I stopped playing football, I was just going after him, trying to get him back.
Wow.
End up now, years later, we end up being teammates, and now he's one of my closest friends. And I never forget when I came to Birmingham, he was sitting in the dressing room, I looked at him, and he knew what I was thinking. And the first thing he said to me, he said, I did not want to come and hurt you. He said, I just wanted to go for the ball, but I was really late. I said, okay. And then after that, we never, talked about it again. But, in the back of my mind in that game, I lost everything. I was just going after him.
Wow. What about you, Stevie? Anything spring to mind?
Probably the worst challenge ever on me was when I broke my jaw.
Right.
Kevin Wrinkle just basically headed me straight in the face.
Wow.
Broke my jaw.
This is the occasion which they gave you the wet sponge, the magic sponge?
Yeah, the magic sponge, yeah. Unfortunately, the magic sponge didn't do its magic.
Didn't fit,
it didn't stick my jaw back together again.
What stage of the day was the jaw discovered that it was broken, or there was something serious?
It wasn't until the next day.
Wow.
It was... The game kicked off at 7 o'clock on a Wednesday night in Norwich, and I didn't find out till probably around 6:30 the following night when I got back to Liverpool and went to it was called Rodney Street, where all the top physicians and stuff were.
Right.
And I went back there, and the guy took me in, asked me to open my mouth, and he just got my jaw and he went like that, and opened it. And he went, ooh, I think you better go home and get your pyjamas, son.
Wow.
So I did. I got home and got my pyjamas.
And then obviously you can't chew anything.
No, I got wild up. I was wild for 6 weeks.
What was the strangest concoction you had in a smoothie?
Oh, I had everything. I had crisps, I had fish and chips. I had everything. I think I'm actually the only person... I think I'm actually the only person ever to get wired up and not lose a pound.
So Eleanor just put everything in the blender that she would give you normally?
Just blended everything.
Wow.
Yeah. I used to try and open the...
Stevie,
I used to try and open my thing and just a little bit to shove crisps in.
Stevie!
You have an issue.
Honestly, I never lost an ounce. I never lost any weight.
Wow.
Stevie, you said you were eating fish and chips. You were eating fish and chips. Come on, tell me please. Stevie, how were you doing that? Come on.
In the blender.
In the blender. Just liquidise it.
To liquidise it.
Magic.
So through a straw, you're sucking fish and chips.
No, not really. I was just sucking it through my teeth. Not a straw, no.
So you just have like a bowl of fish and chips. It'd be blended.
Blended.
You'd have it on a spoon and then suck it off the spoon.
Suck it off. Oh. Suck it out. Suck it through.
Oh my God.
Easy breezy.
Oh, how do we go anywhere from there?
I have no idea.
Ali, worst challenge?
No. It wasn't a bad challenge per se, but Stevie will remember this name from Major League Soccer, Zach Thornton, goalkeeper, big unit.
He's a big boy.
Right.
Big unit.
Big guy.
And I went in for a header. He came out with his fist and, I mean, cleaned me out.
You're seeing stars.
Well, I was seeing Zach Thornton.
Was your jaw okay?
My jaw was okay and no fish and chips were consumed.
Mario, we talked about this in the show and you gave us a strange answer. Are you confident Chelsea still make it into the top 4?
I'm definitely not confident. No, I'm not confident. I'm worried. I'm not confident. Look, when you asked me at the beginning of the season, I said, yes, we're going to go for it. Now I see it's getting close and I see them dropping like this slowly. That's the only thing I can give them in the confidence, but the rest, no.
Okay, so which home team with an early goal, Ali, has the best chance of reversing the tie? So if Aston Villa score early or Real Madrid score early, who would you give more hope to?
Aston Villa.
Oh, really?
I honestly don't think that Real Madrid have shown any evidence.
So they've got an early goal. The Bernabeu's behind them.
Yeah. Now we're believing, as I was telling you earlier, in the mystical, in the magic, in the esoteric, and quite frankly, they just haven't given us enough evidence that they're capable of doing that. In years past, there was something about this team that you kind of go, yeah, maybe. But right now, all of that seems to have disappeared. And if you just evaluate objectively what they have been as a team this season, I don't think they have shown us enough to really believe that this is possible.
Stephen, which club is in the worst situation, all things considered? Spurs or Manchester United?
Oh, Manchester United.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. It's not, I don't think.
Their expectations.
Yeah, I don't even think it's close. Manchester United.
Mario, should Carlo Ancelotti go back to a last season 4-4-2 diamond with Bellingham playing in that false 9?
Yeah. You know, yeah, I mean, that option when he was playing, the team was playing really well. So no one can underestimate that, you know, like talk about it that it wasn't. Because the way they were playing was fluently, and I think it was all new as well, because even the guys around it were like, Vinicius was in a good rhythm of playing, and then he was in the false 9, he was kept on scoring goals. So for him to go back to that situation, it will be tricky, you know, because of what we said, you know. Okay, if Mbappe doesn't play, he could go back to that, but if he's playing, it will be a tough one, because I don't think he will do it.
Final question to Stevie. Last week, Ali said that he'd pick you
Yeah,
out.
I know he's there.
Yeah, he'd pick you out of everyone to be his stylist.
What?
How do you feel
Why?
about this?
What? First of all, I
think
did not
it's-
say that.
I would advise you not to say that either. I would advise you not to say that.
No. First of all, the question was for Kay,
Right.
as to which one of the pundits should be her personal stylist,
Ah,
right? And I, as a joke, said Stevie,
oh, I see.
right?
This has been taken. The press have run with this.
Yes, absolutely, they have run with it. And actually, it came back to me first because Shaka was sitting next to me and said, well, obviously it has to be Jan because me,
Right.
Alejandro, wouldn't know anything about hairstyle. It was a shot at me,
Wow.
unnecessary. And then I decided to take a shot at Stevie, unnecessarily so, and I said, Stevie should be the stylist for the whole package, that
Right.
everything, he should make decisions.
Stevie, do you ever help Eleanor with her fashion choices?
Yeah, right.
On that note, we're all off for a fish and chip
you guys are
smoothie.
something.
Thank you very much. ESPN FC will be back on. Yeah, we're sending you one, Mario, to LA. I'm sure it's a fad. We'll get it done.
I'll
Don't
send
worry.
you some ideas.
Plenty of salt and vinegar. Don't worry about that. Maybe a battered sausage to boot. ESPN FC back tomorrow to reflect, of course, on Villa against PSG and Barcelona against Borussia Dortmund.